Okay, so I will just introduce what Read On is. Read On is a European project which is being delivered through 7 partner organisations across 6 EU countries: Ireland, Italy, Norway, Portugal, Spain, and the United Kingdom. This Irish component of the project is being delivered by West Cork Music, and training for this activity was provided by Graffiti Theatre Company. This activity focuses on the development of skills for how to conduct an interview and analyze a text, facilitated interactions between young people and authors, taking an active role in presenting authors and their works to a broader public. Read On is undertaken with the support of the Creative Europe programme of the European Union and Arts Council.
Blurandevù is an activity that was introduced by our Italian partner, where young people were given the opportunity to facilitate and interview authors. In Ireland, we've been referring to it as interviewing skills. So each year during the West Cork Literary Festival, students are being given the opportunity to interview authors of YA books. It's been a huge success, and the feedback that we've gotten both from the young participants and from the authors has been hugely positive. The idea behind it is that the students would be able to be given an opportunity to actually think more about their reactions to literary works. To be given an opportunity to think about their reactions and to express them, to be more comfortable speaking in front of an audience, with the idea that would help build and encourage their confidence for future work, for future lives, that they just feel more comfortable in expressing themselves. In Ireland, we've worked with a Graffiti Theatre Company who have been our tutors over the last few years. What we do is we have workshops where each student is given a copy of the book. They go through it, they have their own perspective and opinions on it, and they will come together and discuss their leading ideas and what they think about that book. They're given skills and how they would present their thoughts, their queries and their questions to a writer in front of a audience. So each year during the West Cork Literary Festival, the students have been given the opportunity to do live interviews in front of an audience for like Louise O'Neill, John Boyne, Elizabeth Murray, Juno Dawson, and this year we moved them online due to COVID, but they were again given the opportunity to interview writers such as Una Ming Kavanagh and Roddy Doyle, which was a huge success both for the project and for the young people involved. And the running of the events themselves has pretty much been up to the decision of the young participants. They've decided who would like to be the interviewers and who want to be part of the audience and ask questions from the floor. The questions they chose are of their own choosing, and they're collected by the group. The authors have also had such a good experience with this. They find that the young people are very confident and very comfortable and pose very interesting questions to them that perhaps an audience adult would be less inclined to do, which in turn has been very good for the writers because they've got a very honest feedback from what their target audience is and on their writings and how they find it and what's important to them and the slants that they take on their work. Again, we had to adapt to this activity due to COVID. Each of the other years the participants met in a group and they were able to work through in person what they wanted to say and discuss questions in person. This year, however, due to COVID, all the workshops were run online. So they actually didn't have an opportunity to meet, and the events themselves, the interviews, were conducted online. The interviews from this year are actually available on YouTube on the West Cork Music page, if you look at the Read On channel. Our tutors have been writers throughout the years as well, so it's been really good for the students to work alongside writers and have questions on their skills and their techniques and how they might have approached certain subjects. One of the interesting offshoots from this is Keithan Leahy, who is a Cork-based writer, was interviewed several years ago as part of the Blurandevù activity, and the participants were so interested in the work and it resonated with them so much that they decided they would like to adapt it into a screenplay. So that has been a really interesting and positive extra activity that's come out of this, and that's going to be released very shortly as well. For the first couple of years we had the interviews taking place live during the West Cork Literary Festival here in Bantry. This year we did most of them online. We did have the opportunity to do one in person in Fota, And this was a great relief for everyone to be able to get together and for them to interview the writer in person. So this year they were able to interview Marie-Louise Fitzpatrick on her book on Midnight Beach in Photo Gardens in Cork. It was great to be able to get everyone together and have them to meet the author in person and have a launch and just celebrate the work that they've done and to meet and discuss their books in person. The level of ease and comfort that the students get to ask their authors who are their idols and people they really admire is it just shows the quality of the training that they've been given and how comfortable they are asking questions. A lot of the topics that are chosen to go into the YA literature as well are very relevant. So they really engage and they ask some gritty questions about the characters and the character development, and ask the authors themselves about their own personal experiences and why they choose to write such characters. You can also tell from some of the questions their interest in why they became an author, how their creative process works, the reason for their characters. It's interesting to see that you can have many budding writers themselves in that group who are inspired by the people that they get to interview. It's evident from the clips of the videos that you can see that the workshops have really helped them to articulate their own thoughts and questions and to act quite professionally when interviewing their authors. To illustrate how well this works, we can leave you with a sample of some of the questions that they eagerly asked the author from this year's event.
Would you mind telling us a little bit maybe about your writing process? Like, where do you go to write, where do you get your ideas, and that kind of thing?
When you're trying to put a blurb together for a book, is it hard not to give away too much of the story in the blurb?
You mentioned working with the UK and stuff for the shortlisted awards. As an Irish author, do you find it hard to expose yourself to international audiences, or does it come quite easy?
So when you're writing a novel, would you ever bounce ideas off friends or family to get their opinion on different things?
So a lot of authors maybe have a specific person that they're writing for when they're writing books. Is that the case for any of your books that you write?
So when I was reading the book, I was wondering about the dolphins and if they were a metaphor of sorts, or what was their role apart from their role in the story.
Would you ever find it hard to try think of a character or think of a personality for a certain character?